Can you imagine having a healthy relationship with someone when you don't speak the same language? They may be the most amazing person or system in the world, but if you guys don't speak the same language, at some point there's going to be frustrations that come from miscommunication. It'd be one thing if you were just hanging out and having fun together, but in this kind of relationship where you actually have to get things done, communication is essential. So today we're going to start working on the language of your relationship, understanding how we can communicate with ODOO Report Builder. So there's really 3 layers to this. The top layer is QWeb, which is a templating engine that ODOO has built for its reports. Did that scare you away? I hope not, because we're not really going to spend any time on QWeb right now. QWeb is an XML templating engine, and XML, going down to our last layer, so XML is our middle layer, going down to our last layer, XML creates HTML for us to then have a nice report. Anyway, all that stuff's just naming the languages that we need to understand. Let's get into actual reports so I can show you some examples of this. So here we are in our report, and if we're in developer mode, make sure you're in developer mode, we can go to edit sources. Now technically all of this stuff right here, and I'm sure somebody's going to smack me and say technically it's not that, but this is all XML. So how do we make this useful for us? Each of these items here beginning with a T is a template directive that tells QWeb to do a certain thing. Take for example this guy right here. This is a TIF. It's saying if for the document partner shipping ID equals the partner invoice ID, go ahead and do everything within this section here. You don't need to remember the name template directives. In fact, I've almost already forgotten it. But if you look at this right here, and the editor is formatted nicely enough, you do want to understand opening tags and closing tags. In XML and HTML, we have opening tags that say, okay, this applies to everything inside of my opening tag and closing tag. So you could come in here and you could do something as simple as say all the text or all the fields that are represented in here are bold, which is exactly what this strong does here. It's important to understand this tag structure because, as always, we're going to try and lean on the work of others to get our work done. I'm not going to go through each and every single one of these tags, and I probably never will go through all of them, but I want you to be able to read what's going on here. So the best thing I found is to go through these side by side and check them out. So if we come through, we can see, okay, I've got your reference right here, your reference right here. It's within a strong tag, so it makes it bold. Okay, that makes sense. And then I also have this T field, which is my client order reference field. So to recap, we're almost always going to start and end with a matching tag. The tag starts with TD right here, and then we have some other information about what's going on here, and then it closes with a /TD. And again, the editor makes this easy for us to see, but you want to watch this, and then that way it'll help you to understand what's going on here. There are times when we won't have an opening and closing tag, and that's when we have either a field or some other set variable that doesn't have anything that needs to go between it. You'll notice that in this instance, it has a / at the end. That means that it doesn't need a closing tag. Now, I worry that you'll get bogged down by what's going on here. I'm not asking you to take this and run away with it and build out a report right now. Far from it. But I do want to give you a grounding in what language we're using, because I'm never going to be able to show you every single thing that can happen in a report. But if you know the languages, you can go to Google or ChatGPT, if you're so inclined, and say, how do I do this in XML? Or how do I do this in HTML? And that way you'll be more self-sufficient and you can get further with these. So just to recap, we have QWeb that takes XML and makes HTML. Okay? So remember that as you're going into this, because if there's something that you want to do specifically in a report, and I haven't taught you about it and nobody else has taught you about it, you want to be able to search for it on your own. Okay, I think we're ready to jump into some examples. So we're going to close out this video. Please tune into the next one where we're going to talk about how you lay out a report.